is TechStrong TV.
I'm Bonnie Schneider with TechStrong TV, and joining me now is Natalie Lavery with Climate People. Natalie is the marketing lead, and we're going to talk a little bit about how tech workers are now looking at new opportunities in the climate and sustainability space. Natalie, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me about the trend that we've been seeing with, unfortunately, there have been a lot of layoffs in the tech world in general in 2022 and even starting off in 2023. But the climate space seems to be a new area where people are considering maybe moving towards for employment.
Yeah, definitely. So as you mentioned, there have been a massive amount of tech layoffs in the past few months. And in traditional recession fashion, we do see investors tending to flee towards safer assets. However, climate tech doesn't really fit into that mold. According to Climate Tech VC, there were 64 billion new investment dollars in climate in 2022. And that's just plain and simply because the hard reality is that climate change is real and it's continuing to worsen. And we are in dire need of technologies that address those effects head on. So climate change isn't hanging out on the sidelines. So therefore, neither can the investment dollars, the climate companies, or that talent. And then adding on to that, the Inflation Reduction Act also passed last year, which has guaranteed $370 billion in climate spending, which is also just going in towards incentivizing new innovation.
That's a really good point. And before we go further, just so our audience is familiar with Climate People, can you talk a little bit about your company and what you do there as well?
Yeah, of course. So Climate People is a first-in-class climate tech recruitment agency. Mission is simple. We are trying to mobilize a workforce transition to get more people working in climate to address some of that harm that we were just discussing. So yeah, we hire and recruit for positions across a wide range of climate sectors. And I'm a marketing lead at Climate People. So I just kind of head up all of their marketing initiatives, website outreach, all of that, really try to spread the word and get more people working on these causes.
And the Climate People is a fairly new company. How long have you been around?
Yeah, so this is our second year of business. We were started in last May. So yeah, very new. But yeah, I was kind of shocked when I joined the company. I didn't realize that there could be enough of a demand for there to be a entire recruitment agency dedicated to climate roles. But we have proved that wrong. There's a lot of jobs to be filled and we're definitely busy. So definitely the demand is there.
That's fascinating in just a couple of years how much you've grown. Can you talk about some of the jobs in tech, like specific job titles that you see that your clients are saying, hey, these are the kind of people we're looking to hire or positions we might be wanting to fill?
Yeah, so every job can be a climate job. That's what I always like to say. It sounds a little bit cliche, but it's really true. So at Climate People, we're seeing great demand for software engineers, data engineers, product managers, UX designers, and so on and so forth. Many technology companies tend to hire their hard tech positions first because a lot of climate companies are startups, and then they tend to hire more supporting roles in the future. But yeah, lots of hard tech right now. But again, every job can be a climate job. I'm in marketing and I'm in a climate job. So really it's all about positioning yourself in that space and figuring out how to get a job in your career field.
Do you think that some of the people that reach out to you are surprised if they are a software engineer or a product manager and maybe they never thought about the climate space? Has that happened before where people are new and that didn't have a background in that at all, but this is where they decided to pursue a position?
Yeah, 100%. That's kind of like the main thing we hear from people is that I had no idea that I could be in a climate profession as an engineer or as a whatever. A lot of people have a really strong misconception that you have to be a scientist or environmentalist to be in this space, but that's really not true. Climate tech is really repositioning of the entire global economy. It's not a sector. It's about reimagining how we do every different type of job. So yeah, definitely hear that a lot. And that's kind of the main purpose of Climate People, is to prove that to not be correct and really encourage people to take a job, even if they don't have that hard environmental background.
That is really interesting. You know, a lot of people obviously now are looking, when it comes to looking for work, they want to work in a position where they feel they're doing something meaningful and they're getting something out of it. Do you think that's also what attracts tech workers to the climate space?
100%. Yeah. And definitely, I think people do want to work in a rewarding field. And then that paired with those layoffs that we were just discussing, how big tech and FANG companies aren't as secure as they once were. It's making it, this climate industry is emerging, and they are secure jobs, and they are well paying, and they really kind of align with everything that big tech used to be. So it's that rewarding work paired with all of those real life job factors and making people really interested in this space. And then again, we can't deny the effects of climate change any longer. And people are seeing that, and they want to be a part of that solution. So it's a really great outlet for someone to take tangible individual actions.
And what about the factor of coming up with these solutions and innovations? Some of the technology let's say someone's a product engineer or they're a product manager, and they're doing something, maybe they're used to developing a certain type of product, but then when you're coming into this space, it could be something that no one's ever done before. So you have a lot of innovation and kind of on both sides of it. With someone with tech experience, they're doing something that's sustainable, but since these are sustainable solutions that many of them have never been tried before, what is the spirit of that you're seeing in terms of people that you talk to that are looking for jobs?
Yeah, so a lot of it is kind of just applying all of the skill sets that existed in other realms and applying to climate. So while the solutions may look different and they may have that climate aspect, the day-to-day is honestly shockingly similar. And that's what we tell a lot of companies that we work with that are trying to hire these people is you don't have to require climate experience in order to attract some of the best talent. You can get someone that was just affected by the big tech layoffs and have them kind of reallocate those skills and directly apply them to a climate job. We actually recently conducted a survey where we interviewed around 577 people who were looking for jobs in climate and people who had jobs in climate. And we asked them what was preventing them from getting a job. And 51% of people said that their lack of climate experience was preventing them from even applying to a job. And as you can see from what I just said, is you don't really need that experience. And then people are disqualifying themselves. So really trying to find a way to make those skills that you've had in previous industries and apply that to the climate space. It's really not that different.
That is such good advice. And if people are interested in looking into climate positions, do you think that they need to, you said they don't have, obviously they don't have to be a climate scientist, but does it help though to have any interest in sustainability?
Absolutely. I mean, these companies, most of them are startups. And as you and I both know, startup founders are extremely passionate about the work that they're doing. And founders are oftentimes involved in the interview process at this stage of company. And so if you go in showing that passion and showing that you genuinely care about their climate solution, they're going to be impressed. And we do try to work with the climate companies and tell them that they don't need to require climate experience, but they still want it. So if you do your homework and you really understand the ins and the outs of the industry, it definitely will help you for sure.
And what do you think is the outlook going now that we're in early 2023? Unfortunately, we had those layoffs in the tech space last year and at the start of this year. But what is your climate people? What are you forecasting in terms of jobs and availability for tech jobs going forward?
There's going to be a lot. It's going to be a whirlwind this year, I'm sure. Terra.do is a climate education platform, and they predict that 99% of the people who will be working in climate by 2030 haven't begun. So that means in the next 10 years, 99% of the people haven't even started. So a lot of people are going to be coming into the space. And as I touched on earlier, climate tech isn't a vertical, it's a transition of the entire global economy. So at Climate People, we really do predict that we're going to see jobs in all industries across all sectors really transitioning to focus on climate solutions because there's no other option. We must start acting and addressing on these things. So yeah, that talent gap will only continue to grow at an exponential rate. So we need companies and we need people and we need to pair them together. And that's hopefully what Climate People can help with.
That is really great, Natalie. Thank you so much, Natalie Lavery from Climate People, for joining me on TechStrong TV. I think you've really opened the eyes of a lot of people that maybe thought, well, I don't know if I know enough about climate to apply for one of these positions, but I know a lot about tech. But you're saying, hey, if you know a lot about tech, there's a space for you in climate. So thank you, Natalie. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.